everyone, I'm Tim, aka NOWSKI, here on my channel, and thanks for watching another one of my videos. I know it's been a minute since I posted on my channel. The end of 2020 was kind of nuts, moving from my RN job into an NP job, dealt with a couple surgeries in 2020, both like a kidney stone and got my gallbladder out. It was crazy. I'm so glad it's 2021 and it's about to be spring. It's my favorite season. I'm happy. So anyways, I plan on still posting content geared towards both people interested in nursing, becoming RNs, as well as people who are taking a journey into nurse practitioner. I started my first nurse practitioner job in October. It's now March of the next year. So starting to get settled into that. I work for a cardiology practice now. I actually work within the subspecialty within that practice. I'm on the advanced heart failure and pulmonary hypertension team. So as I settle into that job, I would love to sort of bring my thoughts about going into a cardiology specialty as a nurse practitioner. So that'll come at some point. And actually soon I plan to interview a friend of mine who has worked as an RN in pediatrics. So want to bring content for RNs as well as people moving into NP. So that said, I get a question quite frequently about people who are looking into nurse practitioner programs. I get the question, I'm looking to do an NP program, and should I go into a DNP program versus a master's level program? And I just wanted to talk about that a bit in this video. So I did a master's level nurse practitioner program. My school actually has just started offering, I think it was the year I went into my master's level program, they had also started their DNP program, and that was at Clemson University. So kind of just a little history of the DNP transition, where, schools are now saying, hey, people need to become DNPs. So back in 2004 to 2005, there was a national organization called the American Association of Colleges of Nursing, got together, basically made an agreement to vote that, hey, we need to start really pushing the DNP programs and basically do away with the master's level nursing programs by 2015. 2015 came and went. All these universities still had master's level nursing programs. And when I say like nursing programs, I don't only mean nurse practitioner. So this is nurse practitioner, the CRNAs, the certified midwives, the clinical nurse specialists. At the time, they were all master's level programs, but basically that American Association of Colleges of Nursing said, hey, all of those should become doctor's level programs, DNPs. So that doesn't mean doctor of nurse practitioner, that means doctor of nursing practice. So it can actually encompass all of those programs. And 2015 came, colleges hadn't made the full transition. MSN programs were very popular, actually still are very popular. And, they kind of just started offering both DNP and master's level programs. Then a national organization that's specific to nurse practitioner programs got together. That's the National Organization of Nurse Practitioner Faculties. They got together in 2018. And they decided to make the commitment, hey, all nurse practitioner programs are going to move to a DNP level of education now by the year 2025. So kind of pushed out that date 10 more years. I will say the school that I went to, Clemson University, they have made this commitment. They are going to start doing away with their master's level programs and move towards doctorate level programs, which I think now that's going to be a national thing. So I actually do feel like that's going to happen by about 2025. So you're going to see a lot of these schools, the universities, making this transition, doing away with the MSN, moving into the DNP. That said, it's the certifying organizations that really, make the final call, because they're the ones that say, hey, to sit for our board's exam, you have to have this level of education just to qualify to sit for the exam to become a certified nurse practitioner, CRNA, certified midwife, whatever. And right now, those certifying organizations, the ANCC, the ANP, they're not requiring DNPs. They are still accepting master's level, education to sit for their exams. So while the universities are making that transition, it really becomes serious once the certifying bodies make that requirement. So why are they moving towards DNPs? Why are they pushing the DNPs? Okay. So from what these national organizations have said, they want to elevate the nursing, profession. So other schools, schools of dentistry, physical occupational therapy, pharmacy, audiology, psychology, and obviously medicine have these, or either are in the process or have made the move towards a doctorate level degree to become that profession. So obviously the nursing programs are like, hey, we should elevate ourselves to a doctorate level, education as well. The thought is, you're going to have more education with all this, these commitments. Maybe there's going to be a unified curriculum that spreads out amongst all these universities so that maybe the curriculum's more unified. You're going to get more education. And the thought is you would come out as a more competent, well-trained nurse practitioner in the case of nurse practitioners. With that, these nursing organizations have always wanted to really boost the autonomy of nurse practitioners. And, they want nurse practitioners to be able to have their own practices. They, want to do away with the term mid-level. And once you're a doctorate, you can't be called mid-level because you have reached the terminal degree of your specialty. And then there's always this push for, nurse practitioners to have the same prescriptive ability. For like example, right now, NPs can't prescribe cardiac or pulmonary rehab, which is pretty ridiculous. Though there is legislation right now to change that. And working in a cardiology practice, I've kind of ran into that where you want to order cardiac rehab and you're like, hey, you got to get the doctor to order it for your patient that you just saw. So it is kind of weird. But anyways, these national nursing organizations want to really elevate the nursing profession and kind of bring the nursing profession up to the level of some of these other, specialties out there. All that said, we've started to see a lot more DNP programs come to be since back in the early 2000s, even more so recently. So a lot of DNP programs coming out. MSN programs are still there. They are still in very high demand at my school. Tons of people were applying. And I feel like this push to move towards DNPs is making a lot more people apply to the master's level programs because eventually they'll go away. And making a commitment to go do more school for 2 years versus going back for 4 more years, that's a big difference. So I feel like making this move to DNP is gonna make a lot of people reconsider, pursuing nurse practitioner degrees because, saying you'll go back to school for 2 more years versus, hey, I'm gonna go back for 4 more years. That's a big difference. And I know there's going to always be those accelerated programs, so I'm sure there's going to always be DNPs that you can get in 3 years as well. But anyways, right now, so there's both. And if someone asked me, hey, so what should I do? Should I do a master's? Should I do a DNP? I would say do a master's. And that, I don't mean to be biased, but right now, if the master's is available and you can do a 2-year program, I don't know why you wouldn't. In the end, once you're a certified NP, you're an NP. So whether you got your DNP or your MSN, in the end, once you're certified, your license, your certification is for an NP, and you're called a nurse practitioner. So it's not until the certifying bodies say that, hey, an MSN isn't enough to qualify to sit for the exam that it really becomes important. And I don't think that they're going to do that. They haven't mentioned that they're going to do that. And I feel like they won't do that until all the universities basically all have DNP programs only, because it'd be pretty crappy to have a MSN program if you wouldn't be able to even sit for the exam once you finish it. So that would be a useless program. So I don't think the certifying bodies will say you have to have a DNP to sit for the exam until basically MSN programs don't exist. And once you are a certified NP, you recertify every 5 years. And basically to recertify, you just have to be practicing, and you have to have a certain amount of continuing education credits, units. So you just have to like either go to conferences or do online programs where you relearn stuff, and you have to have a certain amount of these continuing education credits. So basically, once you're an NP, you're kind of grandfathered in. If you had a master's level program, degree, and became certified and are a nurse practitioner, to recertify, there's no thought that you would ever have to like, oh, now to recertify you need to have a DNP. I don't think that's ever going to be a thing. Because right now you just have to be a practicing nurse practitioner and getting these continuing education units every year, doing some continuing education. So that's why I would recommend right now just do a master's level program. If you can, you will be grandfathered in. It's 2 years versus 3 or 4 years. And in the end, you're an NP. Now, is DNP good in my opinion? I can see how it can be good. I think more education isn't a bad thing. You will ultimately, you're going to have a little more knowledge because you will have spent more time learning. And I think it will be beneficial if they're efficient with their time, if they provide more clinical opportunity, and if they're more practical with their education. I think a lot of master's level programs that are out there right now can be a more efficient and more practical with their education time as is. I don't know why in a nurse practitioner program you're taking nursing theory again. It felt literally the same thing as my bachelor's program. And I don't know, I feel like it was pointless. DNPs, I think they can be good. I think if they can show that they produce competent, more competent maybe nurse practitioners, or make nurse practitioners that are going to provide better patient outcomes, then it can be a good thing. Probably will be a good thing. And I mean, just to be able to be a doctor, that's pretty cool. That really does. I mean, I agree, it does elevate the role a bit. Once you say, oh, you're a doctor of nursing practice, I mean, you're a doctor. You got the highest degree you can get in your field. So I'm not against it right now, though. If you have the choice of either or, I would do the master's. A lot of people ask, if there's master's level graduates and DNP level graduates out there both applying for the job, is the hospital or the practice going to hire one over the other? Are they going to favor the DNP? In the end, they see that you are a nurse practitioner. You both passed the same boards exam, and I don't think that they're looking at degrees at this point. I know at my organization, the hospital that I work for, they don't seem to care. And I mean, that said, I work in a state where NPs cannot own their own practices. You do have to work within, a physician-led team. So maybe that makes a difference. But right now, I haven't seen, a preference given towards DNPs at this point, since you're both NPs, both passed the same boards exam. I feel like a lot of it just comes down to what's your personality like? Do you mesh with the group? What is your RN experience? That was huge. So actually having some RN experience, I spent 5 years in the coronary care unit. That looked good and helped me, I believe, get in with a cardiology specialty. But yeah, so I know I get that question a lot too. And hey, do DNPs get paid more? I know I looked up a survey that was done in 2018 by Lippincott Solutions, and it said on average people who had a DNP earned about $7,000 more per year than those who had an MSN. So I guess that is a thing where DNPs on average will make more money, though I know many MSN level NPs that make very decent money, and some DNPs that make less than them. So I think it depends on the specialty, the hospital, the group that you're with, what your salary will be. If you ever want to be, say, a director of a whole director of a department of nursing, having a DNP will likely get you the job easier than someone with an MSN. I mean, when it comes to working for a university, so faculty, director level positions, moving into hospital administration, executive stuff, that's when I think DNPs will do you really well at this point. If you were applying along with other people who had MSNs, the DNP would probably be favored in those positions. So yeah, I know that was a lot to say, but those are my thoughts on DNP versus MSN. In a nutshell, get the MSN while you can. You'll get grandfathered in. I know it's less of a commitment. You pay less. So, I mean, 4 years of, doctorate level university is going to be more expensive than 2 years of master's level university. So there's that. But eventually, when it becomes a DNP field, just in general, once everything's DNP, I'm not opposed to it. Will I ever go back to get it? Not unless I have to, because in the end, I'm already a nurse practitioner and I don't want to go back to school. I'm done. So that's that. I hope that was a little helpful. If you have any specific questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Or I am at NOWSKI on Instagram. I look at those messages more often, I would say. Or I get them quicker. So anyways, hope that helped. Hope you are all doing well. I'll be back for another video. I think the next one I'm going to gear towards the RNs and talk about pediatric nursing with my friend who is a peds nurse for about 6 years or so, I think. And talk a little bit about that. I will see y'all next time. All right.